Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with you with another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the 6 key primitive reflexes. All right, so we are talking about pediatric reflexes, and I really want to jump into this because I want to help you figure out a good way of remembering this. All right, so let's jump right into the video. All right, guys, so let's jump right into this video. Now, the reason I want to do this video is because whenever I have conversations with students that's interested in my program, a lot of them tend to tell me that their greatest challenge when it comes across the whole spectrum has to do with pediatrics, okay? And for a long time for me as a student, it was a challenge for me as well. But I've learned to figure out a way to make it make sense. I've learned to figure out a way to recall and remember, and I'm going to kind of show you how I do this as well. And a tip is really identifying how you can take the information on the book and bring it to life for yourself, right? Really bringing all of this stuff to life, allowing it to make sense, and remembering that the information on the page has to do with all real world experiences and real world things, right? So try to visualize this information as if it was, a client, a patient right in front of you, and you're implementing, right, all these different strategies and you're thinking about it, okay? So the first one I want to mention, and the reason I'm mentioning these 6, because I want you to think of primitive for survival, okay? These are key survival reflexes when we are dealing with a newborn, all right? So whenever we're thinking about reflexes, we're kind of thinking about the span from 0 to 12 months. The ones I'm going to mention is really the ones that are very important from the beginning that you're often going to see with a newborn, okay? These are the reflexes that often you will see up front right away, okay? So the first one is going to be rooting. Now, rooting is a very important reflex. So when it comes to rooting is very important because this, and I'm going to mention the P equals for purpose. So the purpose of rooting is this helps the baby find food. Okay. And it's very important because you as the clinician or the mom, all you would do is you'll stroke the side of the baby's cheek, and the response is for the baby to actually move towards where that stroke is, okay? And that is something we want to see early on because it's important for survival, right? The infant needs to be able to find the nipple. They need to be able to find the bottle. So that is an important reflex. Then the next one, okay, is going to be the suck and swallow, okay? This reflex is also extremely important because this is what I call the feeding reflex, okay? So the purpose of this reflex is for feeding, okay? Meaning that that's great that they can find the nipple of the bottle, but if they don't have that suck and swallow, you're in trouble, right? Because that is important for survival. They need to be able to feed to regain their birth weight and be able to thrive, right? Let's test. Okay, she's hungry. Let's see. Good. You see that heavy suck response there? Good girl. Okay. One more time and then I gotta feed her, guys. But see how she turned? I stroke her cheek. That's called rooting. She's sucking. That's the suck reflex right there. Okay. Last time. Let's do this cheek one more time. Okay, I know she's getting upset because she's like, good to see how she turned. Very good. Then the third one is going to be Palmar grasp, okay? And the P, which represents purpose. So the purpose of Palmar grasp, which you're going to see very often, is that infant is going to have early grasp patterns, okay? They're going to be working on being able to hold items, okay? So a lot of times when you have the little infant, a lot of times when they're newborns, their hands are always in a grasping pattern. So let's say they have their hand open. As soon as you as the clinician put your hand in their palm, they're going to have a tight grasp, okay? And that is normal. You want to see that. So that is let's call this early grasping. Okay, we want to see that. That's very important, especially in this newborn phase. All right, the next one, the fourth one, is plantar grasp, not to get confused. Let me put plantar reflex. Let's say that so you don't get confused with the grasp there. So Palmar, plantar, remember, these are two different things, right? One has to do with the hand, the other has to do with the feet. So plantar reflex. Plantar reflex is when you, again, I'm going to use my hand. This is the infant's feet. When the clinician or the mommy presses against the sole of the feet, what should happen is those toes are going to curl, okay? So this is plantar reflex. So you want to see that toes kind of curl over and kind of like wrap around that finger there. That is plantar reflex. All right. And the purpose of this, so our P is going to, it's our preparatory for standing and walking. Okay. So that is our plantar reflex. And then our fifth one. So our fifth one is going to be Moro. Okay, Moro is very important because this is our protection or protective reflexes. So we're going to say our P is for protection. Okay, that is very important. And then our last one, our sixth one that we're going to do is our Babinski. Babinski. Okay. Now, our Babinski is like the opposite of plantar reflex in a sense, okay? Because with plantar reflex, the toes are going in a flex pattern, and in Babinski, the toes are going to go more into an extension pattern. Okay, so what does that look like? Let's say we have the toes there, right? The toes are in a relaxed state. What you want to do is you're going to stroke that foot. Okay, and when you are stroking that foot, what's going to happen is the toes are going to fan out. Okay, and that is a neurological response. So we want to see that. So the toes kind of fan out. Okay, so the purpose of that is a neurological response. All right, so these are what I would call the primitive reflex, the very most important. They're all important, let me just say that, but this is very important, especially in that survival early phase of being a newborn. So this is what you can check with your own children to make sure that they're developing the reflexes that they should develop. All right, so this is it. I hope that you liked this video. Make sure you like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay guys, until the next time, bye bye.